I'm Johnny Hazel, and today we're going to review the Starr program. So I've done quite a few variants. You might want to check all these variant videos out. You can find them in the description box below. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the introduction overview page. So I will not spend too much time on this because a lot of it is self-explanatory. So the program for Starr is in general a 3-day routine, okay, and you have a heavy, light and medium day. The intensity is determined by three things. Firstly, the percentage of the 5 rep max, the percentage you lift. So on the heavy day you will ramp up normally to a 5 rep max, or it's 80% of that top set on Monday, or 90% on that top set on Monday. Alternatively, it could be down to the exercise you use. For example, a behind the neck press is used on a light day, a bench is on a heavy day, and a strict overhead press is on a medium day. It could also be as a result of the rep scheme that you use. For example, 5 sets of 3 is a great light day rep scheme. 5 sets of 5 is good for a heavy day, as with 5 sets of 10, which is not in there right now. Let's just put that in, because it's brutal. That's why I'm leaving it out. The weekly increment, now that is basically how much weight you add to the bar for your top set on Monday each week throughout the duration of the program. And remember, this is a linear program, and by that I mean the progression is determined by the weight added to the bar each week, and it's a fixed amount. It's not designed in a block or mesocycle, microcycle, macrocycle. It's a very basic linear style training program. Here are some notes. You can read those yourself. They're pretty self-explanatory. Here are some exercise tutorial videos. If you do not know how to do any of these exercises, I highly advise that you watch the videos first. For example, the shrugs are not your traditional barbell bodybuilding style shrugs. These are slightly different. You want to watch that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. Also, the behind the neck press is an exercise you need to make sure you have the technique right. I do not buy into the mass hysteria that it's a dangerous exercise. It is absolutely fundamentally not. It's only dangerous because 90% of the people out there are complete idiots and they don't look into the exercise first and learn how to do it. So they just assume you merely just do the opposite of a front press, which is like a strict overhead press, and they give it a go and they end up injuring themselves because they didn't apply any technique to it. So this is taken directly from the Strongest Shall Survive 1976 Starr book, and it explains why he omits the deadlift. The thing I must say about this program is it is not designed for a powerlifter or an Olympic lifter or a weightlifter at all. Okay, this program was designed for college and high school football players and American football players. Okay, so it wasn't designed for weightlifters. So from Starr's perspective, the deadlift is a high risk exercise. There's a lot of dangers with the exercise. Most injuries are as a result of the deadlift. So he strongly believes that there are alternatives out there that are less dangerous, like the power cleans, the high pulls, the shrugs, the snatches, these exercises from Olympic lifting that are more beneficial and less risky than the deadlift. Okay, and he strongly believes in that, to the point that you will never find a deadlift in a true Starr program. He just doesn't program it. It's not in there. You must remember as well, this program was written for athletes. Okay, they're not powerlifters. They don't have to worry about being proficient at the deadlift and training the deadlift. That's why, for me, the reason why I think the deadlift is one of those exercises that you can leave out, or you don't need to train with great frequency, is because the deadlift is highly taxing on your central nervous system. Now, that's not a bro science fact. That's 100% the truth. You know, since I was diagnosed, I had COVID and recovered since that. I had some pretty bad long COVID syndrome, and that affected my central nervous system. And every time I deadlifted, I spent the next 14 days basically comatose in a state of constant fatigue. So I can tell you straight up that the deadlift is incredibly taxing on the central nervous system. Maybe not for everyone, but definitely for most people. So it is definitely an exercise you want to be careful of, and it isn't necessarily something you 100% need to program. There are other pulling exercises, compound pulling exercises, that can provide the same strength benefits as a deadlift without all the risk and all the central nervous system fatigue. So anyway, there we go. That's that reason. That will explain that. Let's move on to the program now. So let's begin reviewing and doing a tutorial for the Bill Starr Power Program. So the Bill Starr Power Program is a program I kind of created really for general purposes for weightlifting. I mean, it's not specific to powerlifters or any other lifter like an Olympic weightlifter or strongman, whatever. It's just a general program to increase and improve your static power, really following the tradition of what Bill Starr was preaching. Bearing in mind the Bill Starr Stronger Shall Survive concept was really created for more sort of high school, college American football players. So it wasn't really designed for Olympic weightlifters or powerlifters anyway. So this program really, I would say, is probably the closest to what Bill Starr envisioned out of all my Johnny Hazel variants. So let's get started. First thing, enter your 1 rep maxes in the yellow highlighted cells. The other ones leave them blank because there's already a formula that calculates them. So for example, power cleans 54% of your deadlift, front squat 50% your back squat, high pulls is 95% of your power clean, and the shrug is 2 times what you can power clean. It will automatically calculate your 5 rep max. This is just an idea of what you potentially could do in a 6-week period and add this to your 5 rep max, but that's not always the case. This is kind of more sort of a goal for you to achieve that might be achievable if you train properly and you've got the right training lifestyle, the right sort of sleep patterns, etc. You could potentially achieve it. So the rounding, that's 2.5 for the kilogram, that's 5 for the pound spreadsheet. The increment is how much weight you add to the bar weekly for your top heavy sets. For pressing exercises, I normally go with about 2.5 kg or 5 pounds. For the squat and pulling exercises, I normally go for about 5 kg or 10 pounds. Now, depending on where you are in your lifting career, you might want to increase that, you might want to decrease that. If you're a more advanced lifter, you might want to change that to less, maybe for pressing 1.25 kilograms or maybe 2.5 pounds a week for the pressing exercises. Maybe you want to reduce that a little bit because you can add less to the bar for the bench press, the overhead press on a weekly basis than you possibly could for a squat or a pull exercise. So day 1 is the heavy day. You're going to power clean, bench, squat. Don't forget you need to do your warm-up routine. So in simple, the power clean is probably one of the easiest ones on this day for me. You've got 4 ramping sets and 1 top heavy set. Top heavy set is always highlighted in bold. You can see it right here. Okay, for week 1, we know what that's going to be. It's going to be our 5 rep max stated here. The first 4 sets are what they call ramping sets or warm-up sets. It's a percentage of the top heavy set weight. First set, 85% of the top heavy set, then 90, 95, 95, and then you hit your top heavy set. Bench press, you do 3 sets of 5 and 3 sets of 3, and then 1 back off set for 8 to 10 reps. Top heavy set you do for 3 reps instead of 5 this time because you are going to do an additional 2 sets of 3 reps where you increase the weight by your set pressing increment for each set. So as you can see, it's gone from 135 to 137.5 to 140. Then you finish with a back off set, and the weight for that is the weight you used on your 3rd set of the session, which you did initially for 5 reps. You're now going to do that from 8 to 10 reps. There we go, quite simple, right? The first 3 sets are ramping sets. It's a percentage similar to the power clean, a percentage of your top heavy set weight. For example, the first one, as you can see, 85%, then you can see right here 90%, then 95%. The squat, you do 5 sets of 10. This is quite high tonnage here, 50 reps in total. You are going to do the top heavy set weight. It is determined by doing 70% of your 1 rep max squat. You can reduce that, you can increase that by just going up here, changing that to 60, 65, hell, maybe even 55 if you're not very good with the back squat. But I normally leave it at 70, 65 to 70. The first 4 sets are ramping sets as always. It's a percentage of the top heavy set weight, 80%. 85, 90, 95, and then you hit your top heavy set weight, which is highlighted in bold right here. as you can see. Right, so there we go, that's your day one. So that's your heavy day. Now you've got a few different rep schemes going on here, which is great because that really increases the complexity of this day. So day one has a variety of different rep schemes. There is a lot of tonnage, and this is really probably the heaviest day of the week. So day two is really the light day. You will be focusing on lighter exercises than the more heavier compound exercises that was done on day one. For example, instead of a power clean, you are doing basically just half that range of motion with a high pull now. Instead of a heavy bench press, you're going to be doing a much lighter behind the neck press, which is lighter than a strict overhead press. And instead of the front squat, you're going to be doing instead of the back squat, you're going to be doing the lighter front squat. So this is a nice light day, which is just what you need after doing on day one, the heavy day. So same concept as the power cleans. You know your 5 rep max already for week one because it's right here. Okay, it's already been calculated for you. The first 4 are what we call ramping sets. You can see it's a percentage of the top heavy set, same as power clean. The behind the neck press, we're using the same rep scheme as the bench press. We're going to do 3 ramping sets for 5 reps, and then we're going to do 3 sets of 3 for heavy weight. We're going to do the top heavy set for 3 reps instead of 5, and then we're going to add 2.5 kilograms or 5 pounds or whatever increment you choose for the second set 3, then add another 2.5 kg 5 pounds for the third set 3. Then you do your back off set, which is the same weight as your third set. The front squat, you're going to do 5 sets of 3. This is kind of recommended by Bill Starr, but also something I personally like to do myself. So you are going to do the top heavy set weight we already know for week one because it's stated right at the top. We already know that. And the first 4 sets are ramping sets at 85% of the top heavy set weight, 90, 95, 97, and then your top heavy set weight. You're going to do 2 isolation exercises this time, weighted hypers and toe raises. Now, what you want to try and do, the same with day one, something I didn't talk about maybe, is you want to try and add weight each time you do, each week for these exercises. So you can see here you're doing 3 sets of 20, 3 sets of 20 for the leg extension and leg curls. Each week you want to try and add weight in a linear way. So just a fixed amount, maybe 5 kg, 10 pounds, and just increase it on a weekly basis. The same applies for these 2 exercises, which is the toe raises and the weighted hyperextensions. So day 3, the final day, the medium day, not as heavy as day 1, not as light as day 2, in the middle. So we are going to do the shrugs, and we're going to do the strict overhead press and the front squat. Now the shrugs are not your typical style of bodybuilding shrugs. You definitely want to make sure you get the right shrug. I've got that, I've already talked about that in the introduction section, so just make sure you do the shrugs the way intended. So with the shrugs, we're not going to start week 1 with our 5 rep max. We're going to reduce it quite substantially compared to what we would normally do. So instead of 135 kg, we're doing instead of 235, we're going to do 225. So 10 kilograms less. Now that's because the shrug is a heavy exercise if you think about it. It's a big exercise, it's heavy weight, and you don't really want to start the first week with that extra heavy weight. You want to do slightly less weight. So it's a really good idea to make sure that you start with a slightly less than your 5 rep max. Now what I do is I like to hit my 5 rep max in week 3 for the shrugs, and then just reduce it by 5 kilograms for week 2 and another 5 for week 1. So you start about 20 pounds, 10 kg lighter than what you would normally do. Pretty simple to understand there. Now top heavy set weight, and then you got your 4 sets of 5 which are ramping sets, same as with the other pulling exercises. 80% of the top heavy set weight, 85, 90, 95. Then your top heavy set weight. Now you can use straps with this, as I put in a note there. You can use barbell straps with the shrugs. So the strict overhead press follows the same rep scheme for the other 2 pressing exercises. Very simple, 3 sets of 5, 3 sets of 3, 1 back off set of 8 to 10 reps. Now the top heavy set, as always, is in bold. As you can see, that's the general rule there. And we apply the exact same theory as we did with the behind the neck press and the bench press. We got 3 ramping sets for 5 reps at 85, 90 and 95. Then we hit our top heavy set for 3 reps, and then we do an additional 2 sets of 3, but each time we increase it by the increment weight, on this case of 2.5, and then we finish the session with a back off set, which is the same weight we did for our 3rd set, our final ramping set of 5 reps. Boom, easy. Right, the squat is the back squat. We can do 5 sets of 5. We already know our 5 rep max because it's stated up here. And the first 4 sets are ramping sets. We can see in the formula bar it starts with 85% of our top heavy set weight, 90, 95, 95, and then our top heavy set weight. Now, with the hypertrophy exercises, choose the same weight you did on day 1, the heavy day. Don't increase it. You only increase this on a weekly basis. So week 2, come day 1, then you increase it. But use the same weight as you did on day 1 for these exercises. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. This is a great program due to that simplicity. That simplicity is not a negative thing when it comes to Starr. It's a positive thing. Keeping it simple, following that acronym KISS, keep things simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid is brilliant. Overcomplicating programs is unnecessary and stupid. If you can have a simple, straightforward program that works, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so if you have any issues with this program, you can contact me by Instagram, you can comment below in YouTube, and you can download this whole spreadsheet with all the variants from my website directly. The link to that is below in the description. If you haven't seen my other tutorial videos, they are all in the description. Link to all of those is below in the description, or you can find them on my website. Thanks for watching. Good luck with the program. Have a fantastic day. And again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to click that subscribe button.